No, Mr. Chairman, if you want us to reintroduce ourselves, the accounting officer still remains the same. And maybe with your permission, if I may request from this side, from my left.
Joy Vadevie, Head Finance Department, Law Development Center.
Morning, Chair. My name is Maureen Kasande, Under Secretary for the Judiciary.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Jane Margaret Hakrut, Accounting Officer, Judicial Service Commission.
You better use that microphone. There are microphones. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Good morning, Chair. My name is Justus Owamazima. I'm the Head of Accounts, Judicial Service Commission.
Good morning, Chair. I'm Mary Lutaya, Project Accountant, Jeros Secretariat.
That's Jeros.
Honorable Chair, my name is Waira Galasam, Deputy Senior Technical Advisor, Jeros Secretariat.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Stephen Ibwire, Principal Accountant, National Citizen and Immigration Control.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm Yvonne Kavyang, Senior Accountant, Ministry of Justice.
Peace be to you, Honorable Chair. I'm Ronald Sekaja. I'm the Acting Permanent Secretary, Judicial Service Commission.
What?
Yes, Judicial Service Commission.
Judicial Service Commission?
Yes.
Good morning, Chair. I'm called Misota Arthur, Senior Assistant Accountant, Judiciary.
Chair, I'm Francis Atoke, Accounting Officer, Justice Law and Order Sector.
Thank you very much. Just a quick one, also maybe my colleagues here, just from here.
Thank you very much, Chair. And a very good morning to you and colleagues and the team from Judiciary, led by Solicitor General Atoke. Frederick Angura, Member of Parliament, Tororo South, and a member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. Walswaka James are my names. I represent the people of Bunyore West from the Mitre District of Taleja. But for record purposes, Chair, I also represent the interests of the ruling party, NRM.
Where?
In the House.
Not Butaleja?
Butaleja is part of the House.
I've seen the accounting officer smiling.
Thank you. My name is Oken Pipi Ujara. I represent the people of Chua West, Kibrum District. I'm Deputy Chair Park. Most welcome, Accounting Officer.
So, General, can you quickly make a quick introduction?
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. I'm Wiru Moses, Principal Auditor from Auditor General's Office.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Miriam Dixoka from Office of the Auditor General.
Good morning. I'm Akana Moses, Legal Office on the committee.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Susan Arite from Accountant General's Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Justine Kalembe, Senior Research Officer attached to this committee.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Alex Onanyang, Assistant to Deputy Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Detective Inspector of Police Tony Mildred, in charge CID.
Good morning, Chair. I'm Inspector Chamla Bijanat, CID attached to the committee.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Gilbert Ainomjisha. I'm the clerk to the committee.
Thank you, members. So, Accounting Officer and your team, again, you're most welcome. We're going to continue from where we ended. You can put on your microphone. Okay. So now we give you the liberty to choose the first three.
The first honorable chairperson is Judicial Service Commission.
That's number one. Number two?
Number two will be Judiciary.
Judiciary. Number 3.
Gender. Number 4 is Law Development Center.
Law Development Center, number 4, yes?
Yes. Number 5 will be National Identification Registration Authority.
Number 5.
Number 6 will be Uganda Law Reform Commission.
Uganda Law Reform Commission.
Number 7 will be Uganda Law Society.
Number 7 is Uganda Law
Society. Number 8 will be Tax Appeals Tribunal.
Tax Tribunal.
And number 9 will be National Citizenship and Immigration Control.
Okay. So we're happy that you have chosen for us. Okay, we start with number 1, Judicial Service Commission.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members. On the small book of the responses, the Judicial Service Commission is on page 22. Page 22.
Page what?
No, page 35. Page 35 of the small.
Page 22.
35 of the smaller one, where we had unspent balances. Page 35.
Yep.
Yes, Chair. By the close of the financial year, Judicial Service Commission had a balance on the account of 304,008,196. And the response, Chair and members, is that this observation by the auditors was true. However, at that time, a sizable amount of these funds had been committed. One, the Judicial Service Commission had already procured a consultant to develop for us the e-recruitment system, which was since completed and fully paid for. The other activity on this balance was holding of a stakeholders conference, which is a key activity of the members of the Judicial Service Commission. They interact with all the stakeholders in the sector and raise to their attention issues that have come to them during implementation in the year. However, Chair and members, this activity did not take place because of the part-time nature of the Judicial Service Commission members. It's only the chairman who is full-time, and many times the commission is committed with the demands for recruitment and filling vacancies in the judiciary. So the activity, despite being scheduled a number of times in the financial year, remained outstanding and was not implemented. That is a total of about 23 million. Another activity which was already up and running by the close of the financial year was establishment of a JLOS sector radio. And the Judicial Service Commission takes the lead. Initially, the project, when this program was planned, it wasn't anticipated that we needed to do a feasibility study. So along the way, we started by doing a feasibility study. So by the time the financial year ended, closed, the consultant was completing the technical works, and so the balances that remained on the account were not adequate to procure equipment for this radio. So these reports have been discussed at the technical and steering committee levels, and JLOS sector is considering supporting additional funding now to procure the equipment for the JLOS sector radio. So that is the first submission, Chair and members.
I was recording using this.
On the bigger book, more details, it's on page 22 for the Judicial Service Commission. Chair, we have
the page what? Which one? 52.
It continues, yeah, the other book, the responses. We got page 22, Chair and members. We've also brought you packages, which I'll give you, indicating the works that we are done, what we received, what was done, and performance reports as well. So on page 22 of the responses, these are now specifics. When you go to page 23, Judicial Service Commission had an activity to eliminate cases that are over 3 years in the system. Now, by the close of the financial year, this recruitment was going on. It was since completed, and the vacancies of the 5 judges of the High Court are now filled. And the second activity within that output was training of 22 judicial officers who were supposed to be trained about the role of the JSC in the administration of justice, mindset change, and all that. The JSC was able to train 22 officers at that time because that is what the funds could fund. By the time we got into the specifics of implementation, certain costs like transport refund and accommodation and coordination went up. However, in the subsequent year, we've trained all these 40 officers, so that activity, chair and members, is closed. The next activity is automation of the JSC business recruitment, e-records, upgrading of public management systems, and all that, Chair. The funds that we received, like I had earlier submitted, we now have the e-recruitment system for the judicial officers up and running. Actually, if you clicked on our website, you could easily access it, and that is now how the e-recruitment management is being handled. Now, for e-records management, this remained outstanding because the funds were not sufficient to enable us handle this, but it remains an outstanding priority which we shall continue to pursue. The other segment of this query is that funds, we were supposed to procure a consultant to develop an M&E framework. Here we didn't receive this 10 million shillings, so this remains outstanding. On still page 23.
How much money? Because here, as if...
it's 10 million.
It's 10 million?
We didn't receive it.
Chair, is this 10 million what is in here?
Let her finish, then we deal with it one by one.
Thank you, Chair. So that 10 million shillings that was supposed to be used to procure a consultant to develop the JSC M&E framework was not received from JLOS. It was on our plan, but we didn't receive it. So it remains an activity which wasn't implemented. Under Roman number 3 on page 23, concentrate service delivery to county level. This was fully implemented. Under 4, stakeholders empowerment and enhanced access to legal education. We're required to update, approve, and print out and disseminate the client's charter for the Judicial Service Commission. This went on in the year and good progress was made, Chair. However, by the close of the financial year, like I earlier on said, the Commission was too committed with recruitment and they did not approve the final draft by that time. But now, this client's charter has been approved by the Commission. The last segment on page 24 of that query is talking about the JLOS radio, which I've already alluded to. We couldn't just go and buy equipment, but we started with a consultant to do the feasibility study, which is complete and approved. So the actual equipment will be procured when we get additional funding from JLOS. On page 24, Roman number 5, we were required to empower citizens on the human rights and obligations. We were required to hold barazas and anti-corruption related complaints targeting 50,000 people. We were able to do this activity with the funding that we received. While we targeted that number, the funds were not adequate for us to reach out to all the 50,000. So with the funds that we received, Chair and members, we carried out the activity. Under Roman number 6, 24, we were supposed to enhance efficiency and effectiveness of jailhouse institutions to fight corruption. And under here, there was a requirement to build capacity of 4 officers to be trained. Chair and members, we were able to train 3 out of the planned 4 because this was a foreign training and the costs were high. So that's why we did it partially. 3 people went for this training, 3 judicial officers, and their per diems and related expenses were met by the Judicial Service Commission. The final segment there is talking about the disciplinary committee handled and recommended for closure 190 complaints in that financial year. And the auditors are saying we partially implemented. Now the response, Chair, is the partial performance on case clearance was due to inadequate financing. Still, instead of the approved 300 million, we were given 248. So that's what explains our performance of 63%. Chair, I beg to submit.
Okay, thank you very much. Colleagues, that is it with the Judiciary. So, just we have to quickly run through what you got. You said you had a balance of 304 million.
Yes.
Confirm.
Chair.
That means you got almost all the money.
What was released? Yes, we got. We have what was released in our. Maybe we can submit to you and you see. And we spent up to a balance of 300. You received one from Chair, we received, is handing in some of our evidences, our approved work plan, the releases in the year, the performance reports, and the evidence of what we did. So the very first one is our approved work plan, which was totaling to $1.839772144. And then when you
1 point what?
1.839 billion 772,144.
But the approved plan is 2.2.
Pardon?
The plan is 2.2. Right.
Can you? Chair, can the accountant say something? With your permission? There's a
microphone. Yeah, you can use that one, yes.
Chair, we, out of the 2.2, which we had the approved work plan for and the budget, we actually received 1.8.
Yes, so now what didn't you receive?
The difference.
We have a performance report which is attached in the...
You have just given us documents here, huge documents. Are you thinking we're angels to know where it is? So you're supposed to get 2.2, but you got 1.8. So what didn't you receive?
Chair, we didn't receive out of 80 million meant for recruitment. We actually received 18.8 and 61.2 was not received.
So it means you never received the money for recruitment?
Yes.
To recruit who?
The judicial officers.
So what's the difference? Don't you give GOU to recruit staff?
we do.
So how do you differentiate the GO recruitment money and this one?
We are operating different accounts.
Doesn't matter. You can meet them in a different way. We're saying, how do you differentiate that this is for recruitment from GOU? So what did the GOU say you are recruiting, and what did this one say you are going to recruit?
GAU chair is also talks about recruitment of judicial officers.
Exactly.
But JEROS as a project supplements GOU.
Well, asking a question. What did you budget to recruit, and what did the money you got from government of Uganda account, even this one from government of Uganda account, was there a different specific that you should do with this one in recruitment? We want to draw a demarcation.
Let me say something, Chair. The Judicial Service Commission, the mainstay of it is recruitment of judicial officers. And the inputs into that recruitment are usually known, the allowances for the office members, their meals and all that. Now, there are times when the funds from GOU are not sufficient for a whole financial year to recruit or to fulfill the demands from Judiciary. So we have our work plan under GOU, and we know the Commission will recruit, say, 20 judicial officers. But there are times when we get demands, even, say, from quasi-judicial institutions. Like an example of last year, we didn't plan to recruit members of the Leadership Code Tribunal, but that became a function of the Commission. So when the JLOS funds are available, then they come in handy for execution of that assignment.
There is some kind of contradiction. I want to understand the role of the Judicial Service Commission. Who generates recruitment into the judiciary? Is it the Judicial Service Commission, or it is generated from the judiciary, then submitted to the Judicial Service Commission for recruitment? Because then you are saying you are planned, and then you are getting money for recruitment, as if you are doing a separate recruitment altogether. Like you have your own plans of doing recruitment, with or without the judiciary. So how do you, because I thought you rely on the plan of the judiciary to submit to you, then you continue with the recruitment process. So when now money comes to you directly to do recruitment, I seems not to understand that one, Chair. How does it add up? Because it looks as if now then you can also decide how many you should recruit, how many people, how many judicial officers you should recruit, and how you should recruit them. So this is where, yes, it is not adding up.
Chair. Yes, Frederick.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Maybe we need to understand that well. Recruitment is supported by GOU. Do we have specific cadres who are who are recruited specifically to handle JLOS issues? Maybe that's where we are missing the point. Do we have a team specifically for that is recruited? Chair, other than the recruitment that is managed through GOU for staff that are continuing to serve not only interest of JLOS but general interest of Judicial Service Commission.
Honour Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Honour Chair. With the disappointment, Chair, I don't know, whenever we handle judiciary, I don't know, because even if you get them, they will end up in their own staff and they will be released. That's why, Chair, I remember when the PS of judiciary, they withdrew billions in cash.
What else is the next one? That's
you wait, Chair.
Yeah, but this is service. Okay.
Yeah, I want to build my point.
Okay, you build your case.
That's why we thought even if you take them to court, the judges will set them free. And we advised the president, why don't you remove this man? And he was removed with the disgrace. So, Honour Chair, not all people in the judiciary are bad, but I don't know, Chair, when you look at page 24, Chair, where the corruption and what? This activity, the barazas on corruption, was not implemented at all. I don't know whether because they know that their judicial officers are corrupt. That's why they don't put them in line. And secondly, Chair, when you look at enhanced efficiency, capacity building, all the money was released, but they only did capacity building for 3. Chair, capacity building, when you are training, the person who trains is one person. Whether you have 4 or 5 people, the person training is the same. May we know from the accounting officer why, despite 100% release, okay, only 3 officers were trained? Because this is training. A teacher can lecture only 5 people. The same teacher is the one who can lecture 100 people. So, with these barazas, that's where voters can tell you the problem. Most of the judicial officers there, they even work once in a week, even twice. Some of you are in offices every day. But these are demi kings. You go, they say the judge is not there. House adjourned. You can't even say anything. So, Chair, we are disappointed. I don't know the laxity because the judiciary knows even if you get them, the law says you take them to court and these are their friends and their employees. They will just release them without any case. So, Chair, we are disappointed. May I know from the accounting officer where the barazas were not conducted? And 2, having been given money and the training sessions are the same. Because, Chair, when I'm talking now, even if the accounting officer was here alone, the same words and the same microphone I'm using, it's the same sound the other officers are getting. So why did you train only the 3 and not the 4, despite having been given money? And why didn't you conduct barazas so that villagers tell you the problems of your officers?
Thank you, Chair. Let me start by the recruitment. I'll come to the trainings. Now, the judiciary has an approved staff structure, and the Judicial Service Commission has the mandate to advise the President on who are suitable to fill those positions in the judiciary. So, every year, the judiciary advises the Judicial Service Commission on the likely vacancies that will be filled. There is continuous update. There is this vacancies, there's this. So we are able to gauge that within the year there is likely to be this number of recruitments. And it's quite a rigorous activity. So that is what we plan for under GOU. However, JLOS is a project that supplements the GOU funding. So even when we don't get JLOS funding, the Judicial Service Commission will have to recruit officers for the judiciary. I hope I'm trying to make it a little clear, Chair and members. So that budget from GOU is not really sufficient to do everything. So we are just lucky that JLOS can give additional support to supplement the funding we get from GOU. So then the second one is, there are new tribunals that keep coming up. Like
no, but you see, you have to separate for us.
Yes.
What's your function?
Absolutely.
Your function is to recruit,
yes,
discipline. I think you mentioned it.
Confirm.
And confirm. That's your work. So your budget of GOU is basically that.
Absolutely, Chair.
Now, JLOS would not come to do the same, which is your mandate. What JLOS would be coming is to support something like not. You see, when you say that you never got money for recruitment, it really. The 61, it really makes sense. That means you never recruited because you never got money.
And chair.
Yeah, but so you had a shortfall. So how many people didn't you recruit?
We can get you that statistics.
So because of 62 million, you never recruited staff?
We recruited. And Chair, I beg we can submit the information, what we did with the GOU under recruitment and what we did with jailers. It's available.
Chair, just to add on before she finally...
Before members come in, the reason why we're interested in recruitment, we have had a lot of complaints. Like, I'll give an example. Justice writes to Public Service Commission to recruit, and the Public Service does not what? Recruit. Yet they have a budget to consume. Now money is returned to the consolidated what? Fund. Now, you service commissions are our main problem, and that's why we're asking that.
Yes, as he will be able to respond. You know, Chair, we run the risk of making this governance structure, because this is a governance structure, governance institution. They're supposed to do the management, they're supposed to govern the judiciary. But when you look at the document presented here, you will even see that they have gone to the extent of doing implementation. I want to draw your attention to, you remember the 20 million that was given to members of parliament? We were asked whether we were procurement officers or not. And then we had to take back that money.
You are judges.
Because you see, it is like you're not supposed to implement, you're supposed to appropriate, and then you provide oversight. Your role is not direct implementation. But now you are looking at, and by the way, your institution.
When you smile or you close your mouth.
Your institution is like an oversight institution. But now we are seeing here, we want to implement what empower, sensitize. Are you an NGO or what? Because you see, that's where now the issue of, as the chairman is saying, is coming. Because then you'll have double budget, and then you use the other money now to do activities that is not meant for you, which means you actually go beyond your expected mandate to go and carry out implementation, which is not your niche in terms of your function. So I think, Chair, that's where we are seeing the JILO's money also being sent for recruitment purpose, which government actually gives the money. So can you clarify on some of these issues?
Okay, accounting officer, can we deal with the first recruitment? What was affected? Why? Did the GOE give you money for recruitment? Yes. How much? You don't know. What did this affect? You don't know. Do you know?
Chair, we have all that information, and like I had earlier requested, we can still give you information. We shall submit those documents after this, so we can see what we were able to do under GOU and the jailers. However, the mandate of the Judicial Service Commission is not only recruitment. It is more than that. We have a Directorate of Public Education Affairs. We have a Directorate of Planning, Research and Inspection. So some of these activities you see under this work plan are actually being done by the directorates, following up, inspecting the courts, following up on complaints, maladministration. There is more to it than just recruiting the judicial officers. So it's not that we are an NGO, but we are just doing the mandate of the Judicial Service Commission. There was a question.
Accounting officer, we have a crisis here which you need your help.
Yes.
Government gives, direct budget, gives money to Judicial Service Commission for recruitment. You also give them for recruitment. Do you have specific numbers of whom you tell that this will be for recruiting this will be for recruiting this?
Honorable Chair, what transpires in the jails, in the justice law and other sector, is that there are strategic objectives. The period under review, we had strategic objective number 4, which had 3 strategic outcomes. That is access to justice, which involved a lot of things. And also there is also anti-corruption measures, human rights, and then competitiveness and environment for competitiveness. So what Judicial Service Commission does is not only about recruitment and disciplining and what have you. Under the first item, they also have to sensitize. They do those...
but okay, we're not saying we're disputing. We're now starting one by one.
Yeah.
They had an item for recruitment.
Yeah, I was going to bring that, talk about that. But what I'm saying is, before JLOS approves a sector-wide budget committee approves the budget, they bring in their requests, which are aligned to the 3 strategic objectives, which have sub objectives. And when they bring them, it is considered and money given. But maybe what they don't have now is the specifics, the particular budgets for each items. Otherwise, without them, they would not be able to respond to your queries, because those have aligned and the amounts that have been given to them.
No, accounting officer, I thought you would make a budget that this is a budget for recruitment.
Yes.
100 million.
Depending on the requests.
Just give me. The government of Uganda has given us 70 million. So JLOS will have to give us what? 30. So that it makes 20. So that we're able to recruit 1,000, whatever case.
Exactly.
I'm getting it.
Exactly.
Now, in this case, given that you are coming with only this, we're not so sure. What did the GO do? What did the JLOS do?
In that case, then we'll have to look at the work plan and the releases that were given to them, because I cannot respond to those specific queries here when I don't have the details. They are the ones who have the details, and I don't know, maybe they did not come with it, because each item is budgeted for, and the number of the target is set, and the amount is given, and whatever government of Uganda is providing is also given, whatever JLOS is giving is also is given, and a total is given. Whatever shortfall remains, there's a reason normally attributed to that. So without that, it will be very difficult for them to answer specifically each question that you are raising here.
Honourable Chair, did they answer my question? I was responding to the Secretariat.
Let us roll on this because we have to move. From what they got as recruitment, they never got 61. You never got 61.2. So of the entire budget of yours of JLOS, we need you to give us first of all, what we're supposed to do with recruitment. What was your entire budget? What did the GOU give? What did the JLOS give? What was affected? Because JLOS...
Honorable Chair, sorry to interrupt you. Maybe through you, I request the Secretary to give us an insight of what was requested, what was given, and
give the insight, sir. I think you, since you are part of it, you'll maybe sit there permanently, because you'll always be giving insight.
It's okay.
No, sit there. Oh, you are, okay. If the accounting officer agrees, it's okay.
Thank you, Honorable. Honorable, we at the time of budgeting, we budgeted for 8 allowances for 8 sittings of the members of the commission.
8 sittings.
8 sittings. And we also budgeted for 4 adverts in the papers. We released the money for the adverts at at least 4 adverts in the papers for recruitment.
So that means they had no money for advert from GOU.
I'll just trying to provide a small background. We did not give them money for allowances because we finally sat down with the Ministry of Finance and our desk officers, and we informed that the government of Uganda is taking care of that part.
So you have understood our problem?
Yes, yes.
Now that is double budgeting. So according to them, if you had released, they would have consumed it.
We couldn't because in the process
money is very sweet. You could get a way to spend it. We're going to show you that they would have spent it.
Okay.
So this one, that it was covered by GOU, so nothing was affected in recruitment. Confirm that nothing was affected due to
Chair, we were able to recruit as we had planned. However, one example I had earlier given was even outside what you have planned to do. And I gave an example of the recruitment of the members of the Leadership Code Tribunal. It wasn't anywhere from, it came through the Ministry of Ethics, not even the Judiciary. And these were judges who needed to be appointed. So that, you find that is an additional role which wasn't even budgeted for.
Yeah, you asked for supplementary.
Yes, we get to that, Chair. We do. However, we are able to recruit within what we are funded.
Okay, we have a balance of 62. You will show us what happened. 61.2. Now
it wasn't released. That's the one which wasn't released.
You see, you never got it. What had you planned and what was affected as a result of not getting that what money?
Yeah,
no, we're going down.
Yeah, on that very one, Chair. Even what they got, what did they use it for? Because they said they were requested for 80, but they didn't get the 60. So the balance, what did they use it for?
No, they never got it, so it was affected. And this one we're going to compare with GOU. What a general, we'll get the GO budget and we'll compare. You just get it.
But Honour Chair, the Secretary said they agreed in finance and what?
That's where we're going now.
Yeah, but Chair.
So the Secretariat, you also give us the evidence of agreement.
Yeah, we don't want tea breaks. You agree? Can we look at the minutes of the agreement?
It's okay.
Accounting officer. Yeah.
Okay, we got the next one
now,
because we have to run.
Chair, there was a question from the Honourable Member about the barazas.
Honour Chair.
The baraza?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Honour Chair, before we go to the barazas, the ruling on the minutes, because it's not clear.
No, we have said the evidence of the agreement between the Secretariat and the Ministry of
Finance.
There will be an agreement.
Yeah.
It's not because the legally when you talk about an agreement, you have right.
Agreement is what you made.
Okay, the minutes of the meeting, the resolution.
An agreement, you don't sign it.
Okay. Honorable Chair.
Maybe they would even write to say we are releasing less because this has been taken care of. That's an agreement.
Yes, we have. We got advice from our desk officer in the Ministry of Finance, showing that for allowances they have been provided for.
Yes,
and that advice is there in writing.
I think we'll look for it.
No, it's okay. You'll get it.
Honour Chair.
No. They will get it because
it's there. Because when it's advice, accounting officer, you people are lawyers. You are not peasants like some of us. Advice should be documented. So, Chair, I don't know the time you have given them because we need to look at those advices. We don't want advice for tea break.
No. This is by the end of the week.
By the end of the week. Yeah.
Accounting officer, we go there. Barazas.
Yes, thank you, Chair. From the documents we submitted, which is contained in our performance report, the JSC had requested for 231 million shillings to meet this target of reaching out to 50,000 people through the barazas. However, we only received 110 million, and therefore we were not able to meet that target, but we were able to do what was possible with the 110 million. Therefore, it's not that we failed to perform because we had all the money. We didn't have all the money. It was a partial release. So that explains the activity on the barazas. And the other one, Honorable Chair and members, was...
You never got 100 and what? 21 million?
Yes, we never got 121 million.
No, the meeting.
So with the 110, we worked. The other one, Honorable Chair, is the training of the 4 judicial officers. I earlier on submitted that this was a foreign training, and the cost that went into it could not accommodate to train.
I want you to help us to understand what you got. See, the total budget was what? 231.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
You got 60, 50, 110.
Yes.
How much is that?
110 million.
You mean this? Am I making a mistake?
No, you are not. You are reading from our document.
Oh, okay. 110 is the total. Okay,
yes,
okay.
Honorable Chair.
Okay. 110 is the total, so there's a difference. Okay, I have understood. I thought we were totaling all this.
No.
Okay, fine.
So the foreign training could not accommodate. The funds we had was not enough to send 4 officers out of the country. So we were able to send 3 with the funds that we received. And that was the capacity building that was done.
Honorable Chair, I'm not convinced. Why? They planned and all the money was given.
Yes.
So who is your planner? Who misguided you? Because when you plan that you train these people in this amount and government releases, who misguided the commission? Secondly, Chair, when you say that the corruption, because according to the comment here, is that in 25 districts were not implemented at all. Had you targeted all districts, or these 25 are the ones which were not implemented, or the 25 were the ones planned on page 24?
Honorable Chair, the response is that 25 districts we were not able to reach out. There were more than this, but not all the districts. We have now over 130 districts, Honorable Chair and members. So we usually phase them. Okay. In a whole financial year, you can't realistically plan to do capacity building or any activities in all the districts in this country. So that's why our result is, from what we had planned, on the 25 were not reached. And as we keep planning, we keep covering up the gaps.
No. I think to be able to answer this very well, how many were there and how many did you cover?
Yes, that's what I wanted.
What did you cover?
We have these reports. We shall.
No. It is offered.
Chair, just here, even number of districts. How many had you planned?
How many did you plan?
And in Ibukedi, which district? Because Chair, barazas may be on phone.
You know, yeah, this is an activity of 1819, and I may not be having the details right here.
But accounting
how many
officer,
I planned.
You see what this one, if this document was really sincere,
it is.
It would have said we planned for this amount of districts,
but we implemented this, and the remaining is
the money we did. This is the balance. Now, I think you are talking of 25 districts.
I get you.
How are we sure you never just ate this man and you just...
No, we never ate it, Chair.
Oh, no, Chair, I'm not convinced.
No, don't worry, you're not convinced. Now we're going to make a ruling. Now, you talked about the radio jingles.
Yes.
How many jingles did you run? And how many had you planned? You just said there, is it what? How many had you planned? Because here, you are putting 100 million, we don't know how many you had planned. How many had you planned? What was? Because the secretary could not give you money what you have not planned for. Maybe what you had, it has been covered.
WhatsApp.
Honorable Chair, the details of the number of the jingles, we may not have them, but what I recall is we planned to run these jingles in 25 districts.
The jingles?
Yes, please, in different FM radios in 25 districts.
Okay, if we go by percentage, you see, for jingles, you got 55 million. For barazas, you got 110 million. 110 is about almost 50%, but jingles is above 50%. So if they were equally done, why would it be?
The jingles?
Yeah, you said they are supposed, I thought they move in the same.
Honorable Chair, maybe my PS2 could give more light to this.
The man of the jingle come and they give jingles. I think we should have said this. But as is going to give jingles, you are supposed to buy a radio. Did you buy a quarter radio because you spent some money?
Well, Honorable Chair, I'm grateful for the opportunity to come and say something. I'm acting PS. Now, normally, jailers can never release money if the purpose is not clear and the unit cost is not there. Our apologies would be to the fact that we have not set it out as you outlined. I think that would have been the logical way, that we plan to do so many, we received so much less, we are able to do so much. Which information we can provide?
You say we plan to do X. Government of Uganda was going to do this.
Yes.
Kelos was supposed to do this.
This is what we received.
This is what we got from government. This is what we got from.
So, Honorable Chair, that one I really concede. Should have been the most logical way.
That would have answered our problem.
Yes. But when you look at the work plan, even the work plan you have there, it shows the unity cost for each of the jingles.
This one here?
Yes, when you look at the money that we asked for, there is always the unity cost, which is provided there. So when you get the funds and divide by that unity cost, you can actually find out and establish how many jingles we are supposed to be carried out. So we just didn't do the mathematics to present it in a better way, but the information is available. If we are given time, we can clear that one. Even the barazas, there is always a unity cost for each of the activities, each baraza.
Jingles, you are supposed to do 2,000 jingles at 50,000.
Yes. Then you look at the funds that were released, then you can be able to divide and know the actual jingles that were expected. So that's the information we can be able to present.
This 50,000 is the price of a jingle.
Honorable Chair, media is very expensive. So the 50,000 includes the development of the jingle and
no,
the running.
that is the development. The moment is like I'm going to make a poster.
Yes.
If I develop the plate.
Yes.
That's production, maybe. Then the printing.
And Honorable, you are right. If you are one station that we are dealing with, but each radio station does its own production in the language of that area that people appreciate, and then we run it on that same budget.
But now you are telling people who have been working, who have been using jingles.
Honour Chair.
We have been advertising, doing a lot of things already.
Yeah, Honour Chair.
It cannot go to 50,000.
Honour Chair. A radio announcement is 10,000 maximum, but this is where they eat money. But I want to thank him for having come. Yes, look at page 3 of 4. They are saying that they had planned for many barazas, but in their work plan here, they had only planned for 25. And this is what was not implemented. But the lady said they planned in other districts. The work plan is here, Honour Chair. When you go to page 3 of 4, they are planned for only 25. And this was not implemented at all. But the lady said they implemented in other districts, it was only remaining 25%. Judiciary, you people, be honest.
Accounting officer.
Be honest, accounting officer.
No problem.
Is it because you know the judges or what? That lady is my good sister.
No, it doesn't matter even if it's your mother.
Yeah, but accounting officer, go to page 3 of 4.
Let her deal with it.
Now,
yeah, she said they were from the districts.
Just hold the fire.
Yes.
You planned for 25 barazas.
No.
No, 25.
Honorable Chair.
This is the work plan.
Let us read it again. It says, anti-corruption barazas and handling corruption-related complaints targeting 50,000 people in 25 districts.
True.
Not 25 barazas.
Okay, 25 districts. But she said, on record, they can even print out that they conducted in other districts. The 25 were the ones which were remaining because the districts are many. For no chair, we can even bring the recordings. Yeah, my sister, you mentioned it. Maybe our IT person can bring the recording, even the videos. There are cameras here.
Honorable Chair, as a way forward, if it was a slip of the tongue,
no, Chair, are you bringing a way forward? Is this your committee? Are you ruling as a chair?
No, I was only requesting through Chair.
So, no, Chair, was that a slip of the tongue? Because a slip of the tongue cannot explain the number of districts.
Honorable Chair, I think even
no, Chair, I'm still submitting. My sister, wait, I submit kindly. Through the Chair.
Listen on page 24. 5, you said anti-corruption barazas and handling corruption rate target 50 in 25 not implemented at all. Now, when you come here in your work plan, you got money. Once the Secretariat released the money, and you spent 110 million. 110 million. It is here. So officers took money without implementing the barazas.
Honorable Chair, can I say something? When you read from page 24, you're reading from, the auditor lists that activity as partially implemented, although in his explanation he says not implemented at all. But it is a partially implemented, and that's
no, partially implemented
means others were.
No, the total there is 324 million.
Specifically for
324. We're looking at 231.
Yes.
The one of the difference of this is about 100 million. That one you implemented somehow.
Yeah.
The balance you never did it.
Yeah, but Honour Chair, herself she said the districts are many. On record that you didn't implement anything. Yes, you said 25 districts remained. So can we know the 110 districts which you implemented? And moreover, your work plan, you said 25.
Members, we have an issue here. We have to run quickly. We have discovered the work plan is not talking is not tallying with they're not talking. 2, we have discovered that there's a lot of distortion of information. So we may not be able to move. So what we do, because we need to move on, we want you, Judicial Service Commission, to give us what was your entire budget, which was broken between government of Uganda and the JEROS. Of that, what did you implement? What did the government of Uganda implement, and what did you implement? Now, from what we have here, there's a lot of gaps. Looks there was a lot of mismanagement, and we're going to subject this to. We're going to hand over this file to our CID for further management, because there are issues we cannot manage.
Honour Chair, I wanted to propose. I know you have made a ruling, as you have been doing. You know, we don't want to say we are so harsh, but since you said by Friday, instead of handing over to CID, Honour Chair and members, I beg.
The file, I was not handing them the file.
No, I mean, when you hand over the file, it means you have handed them over to. I know what it means. Mzee is very hot, especially in campaigns. Any small thing, they may be detained. So I want to request through you and Honour members that we give her time, since you said by Friday, if they can organize the paperwork. You know the presentation, accounting officer, you have not done, and you say we did.
If you don't understand things, just keep quiet, because it's on record. That's why chair says, accounting officer, let your microphone be on at every time. That's why they are recording. So, no, chair, I want to propose and request to members that since we said on Friday that they can organize the documents, if we shall not be satisfied, chair, I beg through my senior members that we give them some time up to Friday. We don't want to say that we have taken them marathon. I beg to submit, honor members.
Chair, as the request from Honorable James is being considered, we also want to give opportunity to the accounting officer. Are you seeing the mismatch that we are trying to ask you to acknowledge? Because it would be unfortunate to say go and get more time when you are not agreeing with what we are saying. The figures are not talking, the activities are not coordinating. You know, once you acknowledge that, then you know that you can go and what? And put your house to order.
Maybe I just want to ask the accounting officer to explain to this committee why these anomalies is actually existing. Why is there that this called mismatch between the figures you're submitting, the Auditor General report, your work plan vis-a-vis what you have actually implemented? Can you briefly explain to this committee why it is there?
Thank you, Chair. The accountant would like to say something, then I will finally make a comment.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I wanted to talk about the seemingly mismatch. That, for instance, on
Mr. Chairman, if I may interject, I am of the view that we will not get much by him explaining. I request that you give us time. We go back, they work up together with the Secretariat and come up with a position. They harmonize the position. I suggest that the accountant should not submit what he wants
because
to
Chair, the accountant cannot manage, Chair, the CPA man, and he got the highest number of votes. So don't waste your time with your accounts. Don't bring yourself trouble in your accounts. I think accounting officer, that's okay. Because your accountant cannot match with the chair's competence.
So accounting officer, what we do, I think let us do this. Have you seen, you have done all the activities to be implemented. Have you seen? Now, these activities both have GOU, or where there was, say, for example, let me give an example. Judicial education, ethics and the code of conduct performance management. You trained 40 judicial officials. What was your plan? Did you want to plan to train only 40 at 42 million? Or you planned to train 1,000 and the government of Uganda took a portion? This was a portion taken by what? Judiciary. All together. That will help us to understand. But in the current state, it is very complicated. Like even saying travel abroad. You travel, if you look at travel, you spend the exact money you got is the exact money you spend. For travel, it's very easy. Were you an angel to know that the tickets, the per diem will be exactly 70? You understand? Because yesterday I was seeing a different forex rate. Today I'm seeing a different one. Wouldn't there be any saving? Wouldn't there be an overshot? You know, accounting.
That's why, Mr. Chairman and honorable members, I'm seeking your indulgence that maybe they have mixed up that. It happens, especially when they hear they're coming to park. It becomes a big problem. But I'm sure we shall overcome that with the Secretariat.
Accounting officer, we are very friendly.
But is he? Because you mentioned CID and what now, it becomes a different issue altogether, Mr.
No, because
Chairman.
there was a mismatch here. Okay, so accounting officer, do you look, as you have understood? So we're giving you only 2 days, but meanwhile I'll ask my staff also to be studying these files so that when you bring, they will compare. You're not going there now?
Thank you very much, Chair, and we will definitely submit harmonized figures and information. Thank you.
Okay. When do you want to submit this? Let me also, so that show that we're according
Chair,
to.
you've given us 2 days. I can commit by end of tomorrow.
Wow.
Yes.
That's good.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Walswaka must be happy with his
Giving you 2 days. Why don't you?
No, it's
take
okay.
full advantage of the 2 days and bring it on Wednesday?
The morning.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Back on. The accounting officers. Okay, we go to number 2 was the judiciary.
Number 2 is judiciary, Mr. Chairman.
We go to judiciary. I want to ask, accounting officer.
Yes.
Is the undersecretary competent to handle? Just confirm that.
Yeah, she has given me. I think, Mr. Chairman, she's hearing. I do not know. She's hearing whether she's competent enough. So she had better say whether you're competent or you are not competent enough to answer. Because I remember the last time the Honorable Chair directed that the accounting officers come in person. Although I received an apology from the accounting officer because I think during that time when the period under review, he was not the substantive, he was not the accounting officer of the judiciary. I received his letter on Thursday.
Thank you, Accounting Officer, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. I believe I'm competent to make submissions on behalf of the Judiciary to this committee.
Okay.
Honorable Chair and members, our first issue was on non-accountability. In this book, in one of the books, it's on page 1.
Which one?
Both books are similar. But
the volume one.
The big one, the big volume on page 1.
Yes.
Of inadequately supported expenditure. This was to do with accountability. And under judiciary, we have 398,188,000, which was not accounted for. Honorable Chair, on that same page, the last matrix indicates our response, indicating that it is true, this amount remained outstanding, but we have since, if you go to page 2, we have an indication of the accountability that we have received. And if you proceed to page 4 and page 5, we have 3 courts that have not accounted up to now.
3 what?
3 courts. Courts. At the top of the page, we have Makindye. The second last is Moyo. The last one is Lugazi. And on page 5, we have
which
Lira.
volume?
Big volume.
The big volume, Chair.
Page 4.
Yes, page 4.
On page 4 is where we have the courts that have not fully accounted or that have not accounted. And that is Makindye, Moyo, the second last row, and Lugazi. On page 5, we have Lira, amounting to, that amounts to 53 million. But Lugazi has since proved that they accounted, leaving us with 43 million not accounted for. And these courts have been directed to refund this money. Chair, we request that this accountability is verified because the auditors couldn't do so before you look at, we make this submission.
Chair,
Accounting officer.
Chair, I just want...
Maybe before the accounting office, you are the owner of the law. What does the law say about accountability?
It is like giving me a rope, Honorable Chair, to hang myself. It is the accounting officer to account for the money.
Yes. So,
I think what she's doing is she's trying to, maybe she wants to tell the committee what action they will take. But in that case, I think what she should have done, she should have asked for that particular accountability and given the report to this committee on what steps.
Accounting officer, Chair.
Which one?
Accounting officer, the real accounting
The real one,
Yeah,
yes.
the real accounting officer. Accounting officer. Why do you account for money after the Auditor General has looked through your books of account? Why do you account for that? And in what purpose, what benefit will that accountability be? When the Auditor General has come through the document indicating that there was no accountability, now for you go again after and say we have now done the accountability. And then you come also to this committee, say yeah, now the accountability is ready, we can give it now for you to verify. Is that how we should be operating?
That's why, Honorable Chair, you asked the right question. Are you competent enough to answer that question? Because I said this is personal to Alder.
You have done it.
Yeah.
Accounting officer, you have 60 days in which to account.
Yes.
And accountability does mean you have implemented. If you have not done an activity, the cash is here. Altogether. So this money, they are using the current budget to account for the money they took the other what? So this one here, the people who were involved, we cannot do much. This was stolen money. This money was stolen. Yeah, because the Auditor General came in October. 60 days, we want to assume they took money on 30th of June. 60 days would be end of what? August.
That's true. But you also know, Mr. Chairman, I think maybe she should have given a background to all this before jumping into the fry herself. Because she could not, I'm sure she wasn't the one in the chair at that time. But she could have given a background of what transpired in the judiciary, because there are investigations going there. And this could be one of the components of the investigations that is going there.
We are aware of the investigation.
Yeah,
and we're even in court. I'm going also to court as a witness.
Oh.
Yes, I volunteered, I'm going.
Then legally to Mr. Chairman.
No.
Legally, Mr. Chairman, it would bring legal implications in that.
I think you don't take that statement as a given. The one of the chairman.
But coming from the chairman, I don't doubt him. Yes.
Not as an escape route.
No, not as an escape route. But you see, I would have loved if the accounting officer had brought in the background to this committee, because this is something which I can't even respond to, because as far as I'm concerned, I gave the money to the accounting officer of Judiciary, who is equally mandated under Section 45 to account for government money. Now, they have discharged my burden. It is, if I did not give the money, then I would be answerable. So in this particular case, the accounting officer of Judiciary should be the one to respond. But I'm mindful of the fact of what transpired there. And it has repercussions, it has implications on the budget we are talking about, on the audit queries that we are talking
You're
about.
saying this particular, issue is before the court of law? Is it in court?
It is
This
under
particular-
investigations by IGG, anti-corruption, is it anti-corruption, this one of State House?
Yes.
And I think CID, 3 organs of government.
This particular query?
accountability issues on that time. Yes.
Mr.
And in
Chairman,
fact, the accounting officer at that time is under interdiction over this.
Mr. Chairman.
So,
the accounting officer before us, not the main one, stood firm and said that she is ready to move. She has rather started on a poor note. But maybe, can we ask her to amend her first statement of asking us to verify the accounts by telling us what she meant that we verify the accounts?
Thank you, Member. Chair, what I meant is that these courts submitted this accountability, which is available for verification, but as the accounting officer has indicated, there are accountability issues for this financial year, which he guided that as the accounting officer at that time is personally liable and should be able to respond. And I will...
That's why we asked that question.
Do you remember the first statement from the chair? He actually asked whether you are competent enough to be able to respond, and you said, yeah, you are very prepared and ready to be able to respond to these queries. Is that still what you are saying? You're telling us we can proceed, or?
I withdraw that. In as far as accountability for this particular financial year, I withdraw that statement.
Okay. So, accounting officer, we have an issue of the accountabilities, and if we quickly, so that you understand what we are looking at, we're happy, the response is here, and you are saying you just regret, but the accountability is hereby available. Now, question comes, why didn't you give it to the auditor when they were there?
Chair, as earlier indicated, and that's why I've withdrawn the statement in terms of the competence to say much about this accountability. The accounting officer at the time was different. And I wouldn't know why it was not done then, but the position is that these particular courts have availed accountability, save for the four that I mentioned.
Maybe you just need to see. The first one is dated 9th November 2018. You have seen it. The 53,162,000. Have you seen it?
Yes, Chair.
So it meant that if you sent that man on that day, I'm just giving an example, it means the accountability should have been in by 9th of January 2019. And the financial we're looking at ended on 30th June 2019. So it means 7 months, in fact 8 months after the closure, at that time the accountability was not also available. 2, then you add on by the time the Auditor General came in October, those 7 plus 4, 11 months. 11 month accountability were not available. By the time of the issue of the report of the Auditor General, you add in another 2 months. That means it was 1 year. 1 year.
And 1 month.
Is it? November, December. The Auditor General issued the report on 30th of December 2019. That's 1 year. 1 year and 12 months. Those are 14 months. So if you have not issued accountability within 14 months, how do you come to park within 2 days and they say you're issuing? Was it just looking for a way to go away?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, with your indulgence, first of all, what I want to find out whether my colleague here is the accounting officer. That's number one. Because it goes back to the same question that you raised, whether she has the competence. Because I don't want her to respond to issues she is not sure of. or for which she has not been, functions which have not been delegated to her. Because it is specific. It is enormous, that provision of section 45 is very onerous. If you are not an accounting officer, you may not be able to respond to some of those things.
My sweet sister, do you have an answer?
Chair,
the other one was for also this is now mine.
Chair, you had earlier ruled that for this particular person, for this particular accountability issue, the accounting officer who handled it would be asked to respond to it.
So in short, we're saying all this money was lost and the accounting officer is personally liable.
But you see also, Chair, I want to request my sister there that, when you assume position of responsibility, you take all the liabilities and the assets. So for me, I would think you should take this one on and try your level best to make sure you have a response. Because then when you leave it hanging like this, it doesn't also add up. So you should be strong and say, well, let's move on, and then we see how it goes. Rather than saying, okay, now I think I'm running away from this. And yet when you are entering that office, you are saying, well, this is the asset, this is the liability, I need to sort out the liabilities and work on the assets.
Mr. Chairman, that's the very question I'm asking.
Yeah.
Is he even now the accounting officer?
Yes. Are you the accounting officer now?
Whether she's the accounting officer or not.
Chair, thank you. I acknowledge that when you take over office, you take the assets and liabilities, but the accounting officer earlier submitted and advised that accountability, you remain personally liable. And the committee had ruled on that position and had taken it.
So are you the current accounting officer?
No.
I'm not the current accounting officer.
So you just came to submit the document?
As delegated.
But not to be able to respond?
Chair, the accounting officer submitted that he got notification from the accounting officer that he was unable to come and had delegated me to appear.
Okay.
In short, you're not the accounting officer.
Exactly.
Yes.
You don't take, the other one is the one who would assume the office to take liabilities and assets and would manage them as far as he can.
Yeah, because now if the chair were to, I know he was not likely to order that the CID should come. Now who is going to be answerable?
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that she knows that what she's getting herself in.
Chair, the accounting officer said that she was delegated.
So
maybe senior accountant, the main accounting officer should look at a copy of that delegation and whether it entails that she stands and manages the responsibilities as far as the delegation is concerned for her to proceed.
Colleagues,
but anyway,
we have to remove.
I will leave it to you, the discretion of you, Chair, to move.
The one in charge, but of course, as an officer, when you are delegated with your boss, you try to come and put up a spirited what. The only problem when it comes and they say look behind, then you say, I'm not the one. That's okay. I think we need to move on. Do you we've dealt with that. Do you need to answer the other one, or you want
Chair,
to?
first of all, I don't know what the ruling is on this one.
The first one?
Yes.
We have said this is, you see,
Because I need to...
this one is to the accounting officer, is personally liable for the loss of 398,188,000. And because it is clear how you account for advances, if you have not accounted it within the stipulated time, is personally liable. Are you getting it? We cannot say the accountability you have brought for us, we shall look at it. The person who should have looked at it was the Auditor General. He would not have, and you know the National Audit Act, if you don't give information to the Auditor General, you have committed a what? A crime. It's a big offense. So why didn't you give him? I'm assuming you are the one, but you're not there.
Chair, the ruling is taken.
Whether you don't want it or not, it is done. You can only appeal. Anyway, for judicial, I think we can't do much. You are not an accounting officer. We would have loved to have the accounting officer so that he deals with this matter. We want to allow you go and deal with those who are available. Because this other one, what is the next? This one was dealing with what? This table of deliverables. Because now the man who should answer for unspent balance, do you have documents they gave you? Where are they? Just give them, give us the documents. We have unspent balance of...
Yeah, you have, there were responses in the...
Use the microphone.
Use the microphone.
Chair, there were responses on page 45 of the big book.
45, yes. Yes.
Supplemented by what has been distributed, because these responses were indicating what happened, the reasons they were not undertaken, and what happened thereafter. The table indicates the actual balances on the various activities.
Go ahead.
Okay. Chair, we had a balance of 3,863,862,459 as the balance at the end of the financial year. And from page 45 to the write-up on what happened for each of the activities, but as earlier submitted by the accounting officer, these balances were there by the end of the financial year because we had received this money, most of this money on 21st June when the financial year was closing. The amount received on 21st June was 3,433,636,856, meaning that before 21st June, the balance had been 420 million, and the rest was received on 21st. So all these responses revolve around the fact that the funds had just been received, as earlier
It was
alluded.
3.2 billion.
The funds that we received on 21st June,
3 point what?
it was 3 billion, 443 million, 636,
So balance brought forward was about 4 billion, about 400 million.
around 420 million
420.
as at 21st June. So all these responses are alluding to the fact that funds had just been received, and that's why we had this balance. And they indicate which activities those were. This schedule that I've just distributed indicates the actual balances on each of those activities and what has happened since then.
Do you have a separate bank account for this?
Yes, Chairperson.
Where is it?
It's in Bank of Uganda.
Do you have a current account in Stanbic? Okay, in a commercial bank.
Chair, not for jealous.
Not for Jeros. But do you ever shift money from that Jeros to Stanbic? Confirm, because you're the accounting officer.
Silence amounts to? Solicitor General can guide.
Not always, it depends. Because there can be adverse inferences from your silence, if it is deemed that you should have known. I didn't hear her say that. That brings me to the same issue, that she should better answer what she knows. Yeah. If she doesn't know, she should come out clean. Otherwise, she's entrapping herself.
By the time Chair asks something,
Leaving Bank
be
of
honest.
Uganda to a commercial bank. Do you have money leaving Jeros account to a commercial bank?
Chair, through the accounting officer, I would like for the accountant to indicate to the committee how funds to the courts are transmitted.
Just we're asking that transmitted from Jeros account,
Yes.
from Secretariat to Bank of Uganda. Bank of Uganda to implement activities.
Yes.
And activities is to send to do pay one building, change your code, whatever, altogether. Now the second leg on this, is there circumstances where money meant for activities leave the Jealous account in the Bank of Uganda to a commercial bank which is managed by Judiciary?
Chair, the judiciary transmits funds to courts either through the commercial banks. The courts have operating
We have agreed.
accounts.
We have a commercial banks. So you are saying there are commercial banks which are operated
By the courts.
by courts.
Yes.
But we're saying judiciary itself, does it have where it shifts money from Jeros to another account of judiciary?
Chair, that's why I requested the accountant to confirm, because that's what we do. But I wanted him to confirm whether we do that for Jealous account.
Mr. Chairman, if I may intervene with your permission. I think maybe the Undersecretary is not getting the import of your question. Either she's aware of that or she's not aware.
She's aware.
Yeah? If she's aware, is she a participant or she's not a participant? Very simple things. You see, this is how witnesses entangle themselves into issues and become actually accomplices after the fact. Yeah? Instead of asking straightforward questions, she could be aware because she's there, but she doesn't have the specifics.
She's not the accounting officer.
She's not the accounting officer even. That one should have left her out of the work, but she's insisting on answering queries.
Chair, I withdraw.
Chair, I know the accounting officer, you are very honest to your staff. But since she called the other person, on record purposes, they may think the committee denied the other officer who was called to answer. Unless...
Mr. Chair, you invited the accounting officer of jails, not the not the accountant. So I think because even the person who invited the accounting officer the accountant to come and talk, doesn't herself have the power to talk. The authority, I should think, but it's for the chairperson to make that ruling, not me. So I really don't know what he's going to talk about, but
the accounting officer of the overall accounting officer, I asked the first question.
Yes.
Do you have capacity?
And that's what I've been trying to drum through, but I'm not succeeding.
You don't have a drum.
To tell my colleague here that she doesn't have competence to answer these queries.
And when she was insisting, that's why.
If she's insisting, I'm going to withdraw and leave her to answer her queries. Yeah.
Chair, I had packed up my things and then I was asked.
No, you never packed anything. We said, did you have a documentation? You started saying, now we go to page what? 40. You sent us to page 45. We went to page 45. So what could you? You have directed us to a page. You wanted us to run away from a page. It will be unfair to our lives. Okay, what you want you to do now? You want to pack and go? Can you pack? Then I tell you the last statement. You pack first. Have you finished packing? Okay, now you're recording. What you want you to do, we want you to go and ask, we will meet the accounting officer. Now, since we're not going to, if we need, we will need to meet the accounting officer. But before we meet the accounting officer, we want you to go and get the Jeros account movement. Are we together for 2018-2019? Out in Bank of Uganda, you will have to get the statements, which we will also have a look at. You will send a copy. Maybe you send a copy and also confirm if there was money which moved from there to commercial bank. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
And for which purpose? Because now we have to go to the secretariat to confirm. Did you tell them that move it from here to here? Are we together? So we want also to tell the secretariat we're going to get it and come to you to confirm.
Okay, Chair.
So we need these statements by, okay, I'll give you up to Wednesday too.
Up to?
Wednesday. But also,
Mr. Chairman, I think the Secretariat does not have authority to move money from one place to another.
No, what we're saying.
It is the Accountant General who can allow somebody to open an account on government funds.
You see, accounting officer, it is true the Accountant General has authority to open a bank account. Maybe we'll let us tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Accountant General authorized Judiciary to open commercial bank accounts. Commercial bank accounts were being used for specific purpose. And we want to confirm if Jeros money was not used to move to those. We want to be sure of Jeros money. That
But the Secretariat would not be able to know.
No. Don't run away. We shall come to them and say, 20 million moved from this account to this account. Were you aware?
Okay, Mr. Chair.
I know why you are.
Maybe you know certain things I don't know, so let me also not delve so much into that.
The one thing we have known that is true, the Secretariat may not know. But we want to, if we get it, we shall bring their notes that we are aware that this happened.
For avoidance of doubt.
Avoidance of doubt.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
So we need to have this by Wednesday?
Okay, Chair.
This implementation, Auditor General, we are going to discuss with Auditor General to find out, but also to help us to understand what was the expected output entire. Like, for example, you see here saying you are going to let us start with the first one. Number of criminal, I think CM to be disposed of 2,500. Was that the budget? Are you getting it? So again, we have to look at the same time. We were getting money from jails to deal with criminals, or we had also money from elsewhere to deal with criminal matters. You understand? So we have to now to understand that we had maybe 10,000 criminal cases. Judiciary service, jails helped us to do 2,000. GOU helped us to do 8,000. We want to confirm, because the accounting officer, they might be using only jails money to do work, while the other one is not doing what, because they know the accounting office of jails is not easy. Are we together? So, what was the total expected for the entire? What did the jails do? What did the GOU do? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
There are many outputs. You had supposed to do 55. What did they do? 55.
Sure, this is the total
outputs.
Yeah, outputs.
No, this were total expected outputs.
Exactly. It combines the implemented and unimplemented, and even partially implemented.
So that's what we want to say. This were the expected outputs of this. Was there a part where government was also supposed to participate? If it was not, then we don't understand. We'll give you up to Wednesday. If we are not clear, link up with our secretary, Auditor General and our secretariat.
Okay, Chair, thank you.
Okay, have a nice evening. Nice afternoon. And tell the accounting officer that we are disappointed.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Chair, I wish the accounting officer quick recovery such that she comes.
The one who she's still the other one.
That's what they said. She's sick and or he's sick, and that's why she was delegated.
The accounting officer, Judiciary, is it not a man?
A man, yes.
How can be she? Why don't we see?
Who is that one? 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 Who is that one?